Hey everybody, George here talking about movies again. So the Oscar nominations just came out today, and I was going to do a whole video about that, but honestly there wasn't much for me to say. It's been a really lackluster year for me movie-wise. Nothing really, I'm not really interested, invested, or excited about the Oscar nominations. I'm definitely going to do a video about the Oscars and about my, about the winners, and about my top 10 favorite movies of the year and stuff like that, but I still haven't seen a bunch of stuff. So once again, we're back to shit I missed in 2016. On topic with the Oscars, Hacksaw Ridge got a bunch of nominations, which I'm pretty happy about, I guess. It's a solid flick. And I saw it in theaters a while back, so I thought I'd go ahead and give my 2 cents about it. I've been busy with other stuff, otherwise I would have done it sooner. So I think this got released in like October, but unless I just was drunk and missed it, it never really came through Austin. I never saw it playing anywhere. I saw it at the Dollar Theater. Well, I call it the Dollar Theater. It's like the $3.50 theater now. The cheap, the second run theater where they play movies that were in theaters months ago for much cheaper discount. Glad I saw it. Totally solid flick. Say what you want about Mel Gibson, but the son of a bitch knows story structure. Okay, Hacksaw Ridge. For those who aren't aware, it's a true story, based on a true story. One of the most amazing, acts of heroism ever in military history. Back in World War II in Japan, there was a medic who, enlisted in the army, wasn't drafted, enlisted in the army because he felt like he had to serve. He felt he needed to be out there with other men. But he was a pacifist. He was a very strict, religious person, and he just refused to kill people. And he was told when he signed up that he would never have to carry a gun, that he could be a medic and just be there to help people, patch people up. And of course, he went through all manner of torment and bullshit before he finally made it to the war. But it's true, he never carried a gun. And he ended up saving, spoilers, a shitload of lives. I think it's like 75 men over the course of one excruciating battle. So, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. That's not what I meant at all. He won the Medal of Honor. He's a hero, and the movie is his story, starting from... we have some scenes with him and his brother as boys. It primarily takes them from like 18, I guess, age 18, through the end of the movie, the war, the battle. So Andrew Garfield plays the lead. I can't remember his name right now, the character's name, the actual guy's name. And I'm glad to see Andrew Garfield getting a lot of acclaim for it. He's an actor I loved. I thought he was robbed when The Social Network came out. He's fantastic as Eduardo Saverin, the best friend in that movie. I hate those new Spider-Man flicks with a passion. Well, I guess the old Spider-Man flicks now. The middle Spider-Man flicks. The fucking Andrew Garfield ones. I really fucking hate those movies. I think they got the character all wrong. I think it's too mean-spirited. I think the CGI is fairly egregious. And the structure is terrible. I hate those movies. But Andrew Garfield's a pretty solid choice to play Spider-Man, particularly when he's in the suit. The fairly common thing about the Spider-Man movies, and I tend to agree with it, is Tobey Maguire is a better Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield's a better Spider-Man. I tend to agree. Whenever Andrew Garfield's in the suit and making quips and doing stuff, I really like him. He's a really natural actor. He's quotable, he's funny, he's affable, he's charming. I very much like Andrew Garfield. I'll be seeing Silence here soon, the North Scorsese flick, and he's in that as well. And he is fantastic in this movie. He is just like, he's got, this little kind of quiet smile he does. Because he's, he kind of keeps winning throughout the movie, even though people keep shitting on him and beating his ass and tormenting him. He's just a quietly competitive guy. They introduce it early on with his brother. Him and his brother love to climb mountains and race each other as kids, and he's never gloaty about it. There's kind of this quiet little smirk on his face. There's a little romance going on back in his small town with a nurse that he meets and falls in love with. They're incredibly charming together, and it's very sweet. Andrew Garfield's fantastic in this movie. When the last act kicks in and it's a bunch of physical stunt work and explosions and grime and stuff, you can really see the exhaustion on his face and in his body. He gives a really good performance. One of my favorites of the year, I suppose. Up there for sure with the likes of Tom Hanks in Sully and Michael Keaton in The Founder, which I'll be talking about in the next video. He probably won't win Best Actor. Based on what I've seen in the Oscar nominations, I guess it's going to go to Ryan Gosling. Who, he's good. I love La La Land. We talked about it, but I don't know. I haven't seen a, holy shit, outstanding performance from a lead actor from last year, from 2016. So, anyway, Andrew Garfield comes close. He's very, very good. Glad to see him getting some acclaim. Glad the movie is doing well for him. and hopefully he'll keep doing stuff. Hopefully Spider-Man won't fuck up his career the way it kind of fucked up Tobey Maguire's. I mean, he's still around. He's done other stuff since Spider-Man, but Tobey Maguire's pretty much done, which makes me sad. He's a really good actor. Anyway, on to the movie. So this is a spoiler not for content or story, but it's something I had no idea going in, and if I had known, I was so pleasantly surprised. Vince Vaughn is in this movie, and he is fucking awesome. He plays the drill sergeant, so he's doing all the drill sergeant beats of like, I'm gonna scream at you and fuck you and what's your name? I thought you're a faggot and blah blah blah, all that shit they did from Full Metal Jacket. But he is the drill sergeant, and he is awesome throughout the movie. We meet him at the first day of basic training, all the way through. He's at the battle at the end. One of the lives that Andrew Garfield saves at the end. It is fucking awesome. I love this. I love that performance. I love that character. The way he grows as like the angry drill sergeant who is just trying to prepare these young kids for war, and like he likes the kid. He likes the main character, Andrew Garfield's character. Like he's fast. He's excelled at every level of training, but he refuses to hold a gun, and that's cowardice, and that's going to get him killed. That's going to get other men killed. What's the use of having a medic if the medic can't defend themselves? They're going to go into battle with a medic who's going to die in the first 8 seconds, and then other men are going to die. So there's a lot of abuse, mental and eventually physical abuse and verbal abuse, thrown Andrew Garfield's way. But there's also kind of a begrudging respect that starts to build as Andrew Garfield refuses to back away. Who else is in this fucking movie? What's his name? From The Matrix and Lord of the Rings? Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving plays his dad, Andrew Garfield's dad, who fought in World War I, kind of a drunk dick. But he's really good too, like once again, son of a bitch, no story structure. This movie it's not over long, and it really kind of takes its time. It's a 3-act structure. It's his home life and his family and falling in love. It's going to basic training and enlisting, and it's finally we're in Japan. All 3 acts are really solid. Hugo Weaving is one of those characters that kind of pops up throughout. Like he's mostly Act 1, shows up pivotal moment in Act 2. It's that kind of movie. There's a lot of setups and payoffs. The first act, where it's about his family life with his brother and his girl, it's really sweet and charming, and you get that whole, like, man, the 40s, right? Like, or the late 30s, early 40s. Like, wasn't it, what an idyllic time. What an idyllic time. Granted, this isn't a small town with no black people, and, yeah. So, it wasn't actually as idyllic as it seems in the movie, but it just very much feels like you get the idea. He's just a nice kid. He probably, if the war hadn't happened, he would have gone on to be a preacher or just like a farmer or something like that. But because he felt the need to serve, he went off and became one of the best heroes of American history. The second act, the basic training stuff, we get a whole mishmash of supporting characters in his platoon that all have very significant, like, right away you know who they are. Kind of stock characters, but like they're done well. There's the I'm the antagonist, I think you're a fucking coward, who's a dick from the opening, like the first time they meet, like, what's your name? You're pretty small, aren't you? That kind of character. But the actor plays it well, and while it's a 2-dimensional or a 1-dimensional part, the character is written fine and the actor plays it well. So like it doesn't feel like, ugh, one of these characters. You kind of just buy it. There's the funny dude who's introduced naked doing sit-ups in the barracks, and then when Vince Vaughn comes in as the drill sergeant, he's like, all right, everyone out, go out for a run, and the guy starts to grab his pants, and he's like, no, any man as comfortable with the human form as you are doesn't need to put on pants for a 10-mile run, let's go. So jokes like that. There's the I'm gonna be your buddy, I'm your pal. There's the it's just kind of the basic platoon of guys. We meet them. The second act is probably the most, compelling is the wrong word, because eventually he's going to go to war, but it's the most interesting for me, I suppose, because I like when characters, despite everything, don't give up on their principles. And that's probably where Andrew Garfield gives some of his best performance work. So it starts out with them berating him verbally, then it builds to like them kicking the shit out of him at night, and he wakes, in the morning he's got broken eyes and cracked ribs and just all fucked up, and he refuses to tattletale. He refuses to quit, and he refuses to bail on, like, to narc on his fellow soldiers and tell them who beat him up. I'm here, fuck them, kind of a thing. His parents don't want him. Parents want him to drop out because it's for his own good. His girlfriend, fiance, wants him to just leave it alone because, he's better than those men, and why should he suffer for something that only he can see the virtue in. It ends up going to trial. There's a court-martial case. There's lots of just like, you really feel for the guy because, you know, he falls in love and he wants to marry this girl when he has to enlist. So he's going to come back and marry her on his first furlough. And as he's about to graduate from basic training, you know, he's stuck it through. Legally, he doesn't have to carry a gun. Finally, he's court-martialed and put in prison on the night of his first furlough, so he misses his wedding, and they don't let him write a letter or make a phone call, so we get that horrible, heartbreaking scene at the church where the fiance is just like, you know, waiting for him, and the priest is like, you know, a lot of men get cold feet, you shouldn't take it badly, and she's like, not my guy. There's no way he has cold feet, something happened. And then we get some scenes with him in the prison cell, and those are like when Andrew Garfield's just by himself, and you see kind of, not the facade, but just like, he's been so strong the whole movie about like resisting the antagonist in his life. The moment where he's finally alone in a prison cell, missing his wedding, is the first time it kind of crumbles, and he gets really angry and starts beating the shit out of the wall. And you see this guy does have anger and frustration and aggression and fucking all the things that he's been holding in. Like, he's actually one of the best physically fit men in the platoon. He could do all kinds of things. He could murder the fuck out of somebody if he wanted to, but he just refuses to. He doesn't believe in violence, which goes back to something that happened with his father and his mother, which I won't spoil that one, actually. Go see the movie. I know I'm spoiling everything left and right, but like, it's kind of a stock, you know what's going to happen. Like, you know that Vince Vaughn is going to turn around and find respect for the kid. You know that he's probably going to end up saving some of the lives. Like, some of the guys that treated him like shit and beat the crap out of him in basic training, you know he's probably going to save some of their lives. You know what's going to happen. Speaking of which, you know what's going to happen in the battle sequence. When we get to the final act, which is the battle, Hacksaw Ridge, that's when you see the Mel Gibson that we all know and love from Apocalypto and Braveheart, and I guess even Passion of the Christ, which is a really fucking violent, brutal movie. It's an amazing battle sequence. Apparently, it's the bloodiest action movie, or bloodiest war movie ever, bloodiest battle scenes ever put on film. Didn't feel that way to me. I still feel like Saving Private Ryan's worse in terms of gore. Maybe because I'm more invested, or there's something about the way Spielberg directed it that made it feel more gory, like it wasn't just blatant gore. But it's an amazing sequence. It's up on the top of this ridge, go figure. And the Japanese are coming out of holes in the ground, and everything is fucking trenches and exploded fucking mortar holes in the ground where they gotta hide, and everything is just smoky and steamy from the barrage of the infantry, not the infantry, the barrage of the planes flying over. What do you call it? Air support, I guess. Fuck. So it's dark, and you can't see what's going on, it's confusing, but the battle isn't confusing, it's just, you can tell the soldiers are just chaotic. It's very, very loud, it's brutal, it's exciting. The way Andrew Garfield, the way his character acts in the battle is just, you're like, very heroic. He's the guy running out into the fucking smoke to save people when everyone else is coward, you know, oh my god, I'm so fucking scared. He's the guy fucking, I hear somebody screaming, I'm gonna go get him. It's an amazing battle. It is very, very gory, very loud. One of my only big issues with the movie is, I know that the Japanese were brutal fighters. I know that there are stories, true accounts of like really heinous things happening with the Japanese defending their homeland and like doing really violent shit. The sound design of this movie is a little bit racist, because every time the Japanese go for kill, or they go to a slow motion like rawr thing, I swear to God, it's like they mixed in like lions and monsters. Like, it's not just men screaming, it's like this very deep, guttural, like evil fucking scream, which they're just soldiers, guys. So it's a little bit those bad Japs. It's got that kind of thing to it a little bit. The other thing, as I mentioned, there's slow motion. There is a lot of slow motion in the third act of this movie. Sometimes it's really, really on point, and you're like, wow, that moment needed to be in slow motion. Other times it's really almost laugh out loud funny, where lines of dialogue are said. Like, Vince Vaughn's got a couple moments where he's like, go over there, let's go. Like, you know, yeah, not great. Also, the final images of the movie kind of rub me the wrong way. It's got a very Christ-like, we get it, symbolic kind of imagery. That kind of bothered me. But other than that, it's an amazing battle sequence. It keeps going and going and going. Obviously, eventually the battle ends, but he's still up there pulling bodies over, like, through the night. I think it's like 17 hours straight he's up there by himself, and it's relentless. It's a relentless sequence, series of sequences, I guess, but it's all seamlessly put together. Like, I think it's like essentially it's 3 big sequences. It's climbing the wall and going up, pre-battle. It's the battle itself. It's battle is fucked up. We have to retreat. It's Andrew Garfield up there by himself. It's Andrew Garfield down in the fucking tunnels under the battlefield. And it's men going up there to help Andrew Garfield. So it's like 4 or 5 different big kind of like sequences. And I suppose there are probably cuts away from the action to like his fiance back home. There's definitely cuts to like the medical tent back at base where they're like, where are all these people fucking coming from? But for the most part, it's one big long thing with like 5 or 6 different bits, like, beats to it, but it really feels like one big epic fucking thing. And it's relentless. It's exhausting. It's tiring. It's exciting. There are some jump scares in this movie. That's another thing I forgot about, in addition to like the angry Japs are monsters sound design and the overuse of slow motion. There are quite a few jump scares, which I don't really think you need. The movie is fucking loud and angry and abrasive enough without kind of blatant jump scares. But it's a fucking amazing sequence. If you're into war movies, if you're into action sequences, if you're into true like historic accounts of war, it's really good. Like, this isn't up there with like Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers, but I think it's way better than that fucking tank movie, Fury, which I liked. I liked Fury. But yeah, it's better than We Were Soldiers, Mel Gibson's other war movie from Vietnam. It's a really good fucking war movie. It's pretty solid flick. Andrew Garfield is amazing throughout. Absolutely deserves his nomination. At the end, we get to see footage of the real guy. I wish I could remember his name. At the end, we get to see footage of the real guy telling stories about what it was like for him. And as he tells those stories, it flashes, like, your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that's in the movie. So it seems like they tried really hard to make it as true to his personal memories as possible. It's a really good story. It's inspiring. It's rated R. So anybody out there who's thinking about like taking their kids or whatever, like, it's rated R, but it's mostly for violence. Like, it's not gratuitous. It's definitely hardcore, but it's not gratuitous. In the same way, I saw Saving Private Ryan when I was like 11, and it stuck with me. But like, it isn't like showing somebody hostile, or The Devil's Reject, something like that. So if you're worried about sending your kids, or if you're a squeamish type of person, if you're a squeamish movie watcher, if the scene in The Martian where he like staples his stomach back together made you go, maybe stay away from Hacksaw Ridge. But like, yeah, honestly, it's worth the watch. You can always cover your eyes for the more gory parts, and it's really compelling. It's a good love story. It's a good tale of friendship. As Andrew Garfield wins over his platoon men. It's a obviously great war story. It's a great tale of heroism. It's a great story about one guy struggling against everything in the world, one man standing alone. So yeah, I'm glad it got all the nominations it did. It's probably going to be in my top 10 for the year. Then again, it's been a fairly lackluster year. Ratings, I don't know, 8 out of 10, maybe. About an 8 out of 10. I don't have a lot of urge to watch it again. Like, it isn't going to be like, oh, I want to buy that movie and watch it again right away. But, when it comes on Netflix, eventually, if it gets cheaper, if there's a commentary track with Andrew Garfield, I'd like to hear that, as a matter of fact. But the movie itself, like, I'm sure I'm going to watch it again. But it isn't like an immediate want-to-rewatchability. However, it's a great Redbox Netflix rental. Like, it's definitely worth a first watch. So, yeah, good flick. Here's hoping that Andrew Garfield's next flick, Silence, is good. I mean, it's Scorsese, right? He hasn't made a bad movie ever, as far as I know. So, yeah, it's cool to see Mel Gibson back in the Academy Award spotlight. I'm not sure how. I don't know where we landed as a people on Mel Gibson. Is he a fucking racist, terrible, evil piece of shit, or is he just kind of drunk and said some stupid shit? I don't know where we landed on that. But good to see him back as a director. He's a really good director. Hoping that he continues to work. Obviously, he's only directed, I guess, 4 movies now. And he, big gaps, but I think he's one of the titans. He knows how to fucking stage a massive set piece. And movies have been missing that recently. I feel like movies have been missing big spectacles that aren't CGI based. Which I will say, that's the other thing. The fucking battle sequences, it is like fucking amazing to watch because I don't think there's much CGI in it. Like, you can really tell. There's like 100 people running through this massive fucking, piece of dirt and live mortars going off. Not real mortars, but, live explosions. It's compelling to watch because it's real. It's tactile. So that alone is fucking worth a watch. If I had to pick between Andrew Garfield or Ryan Gosling, or who the other nominees are for Best Actor, I guess Andrew Garfield. Ryan Gosling has done better work in other stuff. He'll be back again for sure. He's, that dude's a certified, bona fide fucking movie star. Ryan Gosling is. Andrew Garfield's on his way up. He's younger. He had a great start. Same thing as Armie Hammer, the other guy from Social Network. Andrew Garfield, I think, deserves it more for this performance, which is what it's all about. I think that the performance that Andrew Garfield gives in this movie is stronger than Ryan Gosling gives. And honestly, I'm not even fucking sure who else is nominated for Best Actor this year. Denzel in Fences, which I haven't seen, but I'm sure that's fucking amazing. So that's 3. Who are the other 2? Fuck it. Tell me in the comments who the other 2. Tell me in the comments who the other 2 people are. Anyway, that's all I got for Hacksaw Ridge. Check me out on Facebook or Twitter. George Efta is the name. Check out the blog, adolescentconceptions.wordpress.com, and tell me what you thought of Hacksaw Ridge in the comments below. Better yet, tell me your favorite war movies, war sequences, battle sequences in the comments below. And yeah, see you next time with The Founder. Bye.